bit about what we do. I'm from the National Insurance Crime Bureau. Please don't get up and leave. It is more interesting than it might sound talking about the details and intricacies of insurance fraud. I promise it'll be a little bit better than that. What NICB is NICB is a consortium of about 1,200 insurance companies. It's about 98, 99% of the entire property and casualty insurance industry. So we've been around for about 110 years doing insurance fraud investigation, vehicle theft, cargo, import, export, all of that stuff. There's a lot that goes on there. And about 3 years ago, they brought me in to take a look at what else we could do in emerging technology. And we realized in that process that geospatial, or location-based information, is really at the heart of everything, right? If 80% of all data has a geospatial component to it, clearly in the insurance industry, where everything is at a location, that number has to be much higher. You write a policy, you file a claim, a cat happens, you drive a car at a location. So we really, really needed that location-based intelligence. And so we created the Geospatial Intelligence Center. And this is an industry consortium by the industry for the industry to promote geospatial technology and the intelligence gathering that comes from that. And so we're doing a number of very different things. I'm going to run through them really quickly. I know there are drinks out there and I'm here and that isn't a good scenario. So we'll try and go through it quickly. We have 5 key program areas. And again, this is a consortium that's done at cost. So we take the cost, it's non-for-profit, we take the actual cost and divide it proportionally among our members. Our members, by the way, those 1,200 members, the premium that they collect on an annual basis is just under $1 trillion. It's about 3% of the whole US economy just in what insurers collect in monthly premium payments. It's remarkable. Anyway, 5 key program areas. So we have disaster or CAT response. We have a national imagery program. We refer to these kind of internally as blue sky for national imagery, gray sky in a CAT response. So just to kind of go between the two. We have a digital delivery platform. I'll kind of skip through that because it's Esri, you know, I think we're good here. Advanced analytics, and we do this through a partner network. So to first start, our main partners are Esri and then a company called Vexcel Imaging. And we'll talk about them in a second. But Vexcel makes the sensor, the aerial cameras, the street view cameras that we use. And so we have 3 main types of imagery collection that we use. We have 360 street view. It's like the Google car that drives, or sorry, Bing car, I guess. It was a Microsoft company that did this, but it's the street view system that goes around. 360 aerial is that oblique. So 360 oblique imagery, we get not only that top-down kind of satellite view, but a 45-degree angle north, south, east, and west around every single building that we fly over. And we have wide area aerial. And this is a sensor or aerial camera that's just an absolute beast. It's got a 9-kilometer flight strip or swath. As it's flying at 25,000 feet at 300 knots under a jet aircraft, it's still collecting 15-centimeter resolution imagery. So we'll talk about resolution here in a second. But I mentioned Vexcel and the sensors they make. Their history was that they've been around for about 25 years. Microsoft bought them about 10 years ago to create Bing and Bing Maps. And about 2 years ago, we partnered with them, along with Esri, to form, under kind of the NICB, to form the Geospatial Intelligence Center, or GIC. So obviously, you know Esri's benefit. I don't need to take our precious drinking time to kind of go over what they do. But with Vexcel, that Microsoft pedigree and experience proved just truly valuable. We've got people like Stephen Lawler was CTO at Microsoft for Bing, and Eric Jorgensen ran all online services. And so them, along with the insurance expertise and knowledge from NICB and the geospatial knowledge of Esri and Matt's team, it's truly been a remarkable experience. So how did this all start? So our board of governors are typically the chief claims executive from the top 16 US primary insurers. And so we kept trying new things out, going up to them and going like, shiny, you like this? You know, let us know what we can do with it. And they kept taking a look and saying, yeah, that looks great, that looks great. They called for a full board meeting that happened to be August 25th of last year just as Harvey was hitting Texas. So we sat in a boardroom, they basically looked at the screen, they said, that looks great, go to Houston. And so I deployed to Houston, did Harvey, Irma, Maria, the wildfires, back to back to back, right out of the gate. And it was really leveraging the experience and the technology of both our partners, Vexcel and then Esri. All in, for when we were done with the hurricanes and the wildfires, we ended up collecting just about 70,000 square kilometers of imagery. To translate that from metric, that's about the size of the country of Austria that we were able to collect in about 7 or 8 flight days. Remarkably, though, as we were collecting this survey-grade imagery, we were able to process it in a rolling 24-hour period from when it was collected. So take a look at what we did there. If you take Irma, for example, we had about 10 aircraft, each with $1.5 million aerial camera on it, collecting imagery in Irma. Those data units, because it's a tremendous amount of data, were pulled, and we then flew those back to our data center in Colorado, where they were processed, pushed to Esri's imagery team in Dubai, and then pushed out via image server in 24 hours from wheels down in collection. Now, this works because NICB has law enforcement access. We work directly in every command center. We work on the ground as part of that response. And everything that we do and everything that we're going to talk about today, we provide to government and law enforcement at no cost, provided by the insurance industry. And so it gives you some incredible imagery, like just an amazing view. We covered about 100% of the population density of South Texas following Harvey. We covered 70% of the entire urban population of the entire state of Florida in about 4 flight days. That's the scale that we're able to achieve. And we're able to process that, again, thanks to Esri and the work that they're doing in a rolling 24-hour period. That's what's remarkable. I love in this image, you can see the movement of the water around the trees and the homes in Houston following Harvey, but at a scale of all of South Texas in survey-grade imagery. We caught some incredible pleas for help. We imaged everything. FEMA was able to really kind of pivot on a dime and start using this imagery. First time we gave it to them was Harvey. By Irma, they were already doing remote assessment and adjustment of individual assistance claims or FEMA claims. Truly, truly remarkable stuff. Now, we mentioned the blue sky, and we'll talk about that in a second. This is kind of a before image of Napa, some homes in Napa. To see the value of this location intelligence and this remote sensing, it's really when you get into the after. And so if you go back from this to this, imagine that you're an insurer. This was captured 9 days before the flight restriction was lifted. Nobody else could collect this. It did take that access to be able to collect it. We were able to fly this imagery. The pilots couldn't even see the ground because of the smoke. So we took near infrared that we combined with the color imagery. We reduced the blue. We ran some smart algorithms, and we were able to get to where you could see this. You can make claims decisions based on having this kind of intelligence. Now, blue sky. That was gray sky, CAT response, disaster response. What do we do the rest of the time? We launched a program this year at the GIC where we are collecting high-resolution, 15-centimeter resolution imagery of the entire US on an annual basis. We're doing the top 150 metro areas at 5-centimeter resolution, 360 degrees. So top down plus north, south, east, and west at a 45-degree angle. Put that in perspective for a second in terms of the resolution. High-resolution commercial satellite imagery tends to be about a meter resolution, right? It's limited by federal law, national security law, at I think about 50 or 60 centimeter resolution. We're doing 20 times that resolution across 150 metro areas. It's about 75% of the US population that we're imaging in 360 degrees in survey-grade imagery. Now, Steven, the former CTO at Microsoft, he told me that the entire Bing program was about 3 petabytes of data. We're collecting 60 petabytes of data per year just in the continental US. That's kind of the size and the magnitude of this program. It's the largest imagery collection program in history. Now, the way that we do that is through a network effect. So NICB is an information sharing organization. We brought what we feel are the best partners to the table, and then we create this ecosystem that lets some of our partners really flourish. So we have just under 150 aircraft available to us today. And we do it through partnerships. We spend our money and our dollars on intellectual property, on things that return to us and to our members something of value, not on oil changes for aircraft. But we create this economy and this economy of scale that lets us really thrive. So those aircraft are located across 25 hubs in the US and Canada. And so as we fly the Blue Sky, the National Imagery Program, we're collecting all of the continental US plus the metro areas of Canada on an annual basis. And we're quickly expanding beyond that into other geographic regions based on the interest of the members. And we've got most of the top end of the insurance industry signed on already and participating as members. And we're continuing to work with Matt and Alex and their team here to make sure that they're realizing the value of geospatial intelligence. We had a top 5 US insurer. Really quick side note, I promise I'm going to try not to hold us up any longer. Top 5 insurer. And we went and we started to talk to them about what their geospatial intelligence program was. And I said, what's your response plan? How's this going to work? And they said, well, we're going to book a conference room, we roll out a paper map, and then we read the newspaper, and we try and find out what's going on, and we mark that map. And I said, wait a second, your CEO was just talking about the digital transformation. Where's that digital transformation? They said, well, we can book the conference room in Outlook. I wish that wasn't a true story, I really do. We won't tell or share who it is for, I don't know why, we should shame them, but that's where things are. And if you've got a geospatially centric organization, I think you might not realize how rarefied that air it really is. But we think and believe that as an industry that touches everyone, this should really be something that's used internally. And so it's with that we're using the imagery platform, the ArcGIS-based platform. I mean, it's AGOL, right? And we're working to make this better and more immersive using 3D imagery, oblique imagery viewer, applying street side. We're working directly with Matt and his team on building a set of apps for the insurance industry that we will provide that's built directly with Esri. We don't want, sorry to offend anybody here, we don't want this living in a GIS shop anymore. We think that you can't make a decision without making a geospatial decision. And that needs to get out into the frontlines workforce at every member or enterprise. Now, this is what it looks like. We won't take too much time. This is what we pushed out to everyone after the hurricanes. This is Irma. So you've got your nadir, your top-down imagery on the right side of the screen. You have your inset box. That's the 360 aerial oblique imagery. And you can just spin the compass to pivot it and see it from 360 degrees. Now, we're doing a lot with this. Very quickly, I'm not going to take too much time on this because I think we're more familiar with it, but there's incredible measurement functionality that inherently exists in ArcGIS. And because our imagery is survey-grade accurate, it's accurate down to 1 pixel. That's where this starts to get sort of interesting, is that if you zoom in on it, you can do point-click measurement that's survey accurate very, very quickly and easily, just inherently off that blue sky imagery. This is some of the blue sky imagery we flew in Los Angeles. If you pivot around, you can click on the corners of the roof and do an area measurement. Obviously, to replace a roof, that's very valuable for insurers. All of this runs on a point cloud. Again, to repeat myself, survey accurate, survey grade accurate. That point cloud has bajillions, I think is the technical term, of points that are actual measurements of everything. So anything that you click on, you can run. Now, obviously, it's in the Esri ecosystem, so you can lay on layers, toggle on layers very efficiently and easily, including 3D models. We're producing, speaking of 3D models, digital elevation, digital terrain, digital surface models that are accurate to the pixel. Let's put that in perspective. If you're trying to determine the flood risk at a given location, the FEMA flood map has 10-foot granularity. Ours has 5-centimeter granularity. We're creating a photorealistic 3D model of everything that we fly over. It's a truly virtual Earth. It's the video game. Now, to finish up very quickly, some of the ways that people use this, The first is a swipe tool. This is something that Matt and his team really pushed out. This is what a lot of people have used. So this gives us that before and after swipe view of it. We also have that measurement capability in 3-dimension following a disaster or CAT event that people can really use to determine what that loss is. Lastly, portfolio estimation for the industry is really a big deal, right? You have to set your reserves. You have to have money in the bank ready to pay out all these claims. And so Esri has a great portfolio analysis tool. And normally that's done through something like estimation, taking a look at that hurricane cone and seeing how much probability there is that it's going to repeat or hit or how much loss you might have. But we're working with another partner of ours, Munich Re, the largest reinsurer in the world, to create some really, really cool stuff that does analytics and AI on top of this. So rather than guessing at what your loss is, we think that you should just know what your loss is. And so this is an example from the Keys. We take the imagery, and through running some computer vision AI programs, we first determine where there's a building. You have to know these pixels are building, this pixel is not building. So we're isolating what those buildings are. And at that point, on a scale of red to green, we are taking a look at how much damage actually occurred at the individual address location, algorithmically. That is a game changer. One of the reasons we couldn't use off-the-shelf imagery is it's not homogeneous. We're flying all the imagery. We're a nonprofit consortium. By the way, if anybody ever asks you, hey, great idea, do you want to make this a nonprofit consortium or a for-profit company? Choose for-profit. I want a yacht, and I work for a non-for-profit consortium that makes no money. We have screwed up. I have failed. Anyway, if you think about this, we're flying all this imagery so it's homogeneous. It's totally smooth. It lets you use all that AI on top of it. And so from this point, once you have red, green, yellow, think about what that does for the service for these enterprises, about that customer experience. No longer do we have to guess what's going on. I can call Matt up and I say, Matt, hey, I'm sorry you had to evacuate. Are you okay? When was the last time your insurer asked, are you okay? It's been a while for me. I might need a new insurer. Are you okay? Do you have a place to stay? Because I've got logistics holding hotel rooms on the other line. Do you need food? We'll have Amazon, Whole Foods, whatever Bezos buys next. We'll have them send some food over, get a rental car. At no point have we talked about his claim, right? Because we can see it. It's right there. It was a total loss. We know that. We just cut the check. We took care of the customer. Maybe you're not in insurance, but I think that that's really valuable, right? Does your business have something that exists on the ground? Well, shouldn't you know more about what's going on there? That's what we believe. We believe everyone needs to speak a common geospatial language. And if you do, it pivots and transitions your business to one that's based in geospatial fact. And that's what we're doing, is just creating that ground truth. Not a ground truth, but the ground truth. Because there's never been a bigger remote sensing aerial imagery program. And so, to finish up, this is really what it comes down to. It comes down to the use of it. It comes down to that value of saying, how can we gain insight to not only make our business more efficient, not only maybe reduce the amount of people that we have to put in harm's way in this particular case, but how do we take care of that customer, and how do we get more intelligence and information on what is important to them? That's really what we're looking at. Now, coming up, we're going to be able to do some great, great things, build that true virtual Earth, that 3D model of everything. Already, with Munich as our partner, we're enabling our member companies to be able to click on an address and see not only how much damage occurred, but what was wrong with it. Is it just shingle damage that can be easily replaced remotely? Is it something that's deeper? Is it a structural shift? Is it a total loss? Look at the underwriting side. I'm going to use Matt's example here, because he put me last between you and drinks, and I'm going to call him out on this. So let's say that Matt and I are hypothetically the same actuarial person from a risk standpoint. Matt gets to be 37 again. This is already going well for you. We are the same actuarial risk. We are both 37. We both have the exact same house. But, as he showed me this past winter as one of like 22 nor'easters hit Boston, Matt might have some huge trees swaying overhead that I wouldn't. Alan, you can tell me from an underwriting standpoint, that's not currently looked at in most places, right? From an underwriting standpoint, you get to now know what the actual risk affecting your footprint is. And in Matt's case, it's some really tall trees. Sorry, buddy. Horrible risk. I don't know who his insurer is or if they're here.
They're not here, or I wouldn't have said that.
All right, there you go. So anyway, to finish up, that's really what we're looking at. We believe that the value is in actionable intelligence from remotely sensed data and geospatial analysis. And that's what we need to set out to do. We represent the largest industry, I think, in the world, and they definitely have that need. So anyway, thank you, Matt. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate the time.